Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of the Real FERM podcast. It's a real fun one today. If you read the title and the thumbnail, but before I get into that, hit the buttons. If you're listening, if you're just watching, you can listen. If you're just listening, you can watch the Real FERM podcast YouTube channel, the audio platforms. I'm going through a bit of I've been going through, this isn't some kind of like call for help either. It's just more of it is what it is, and I want to talk about it because another week of not being able to record with Rockstar Life or anyone else because I don't have any a damn studio to bring people in, and lots of things piling on that brings me down. So it's just me again, and it's like, okay, I can do the chat GPT thing. I could find a topic to talk about. I'm kind of getting more comfortable doing these solo a little bit, but I prefer to be talking to someone. But again, that requires a space that isn't my crammed room in my parents' house that I've been living in for almost 2 years since I lost my job in New York due to pandemic-related reasons. Good times, fun times. But it's 2020 FERM, and I try to keep my head up. But yeah, just depression, man. I hope whoever's listening, thank you for listening. Obviously, this isn't a very exciting topic, but I feel like talking about it is cool because people experience this and can relate. Not that, hopefully one of the 5 of you that watch and listen to this regularly can relate in some way. If you're watching, you can see I'm in my robe and I haven't changed. It's 2 p.m. on a Monday. Martin Luther King, shout out to Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. What a G, OG, civil rights, all the power. Shout out to him. But yeah, it's I haven't got dressed. To my credit, it's I've been slower to get dressed these days, not just because I'm depressed, but because it's a little cold here in Florida, and we don't really use heat in the house because it's just not usually a thing. But so when it gets a little cold outside, it's inside, and I like to stay warm. But definitely depression. It's like, wow, why do I need to get dressed? Whatever. Fuck it, so I'm in my robe. And today specifically, for the past several months, I've been very depressed. And, if you watch the live streams, sometimes in the live streams I'm a little trying to get through it, but the music helps, and the people, and it feels like a community thing, and it's fun. So it might not seem like I'm depressed, but I'm severely depressed most of the time. And I generally go towards escapisms like binge watching Netflix, whatever, series, movies, YouTube, podcasts. Just listening to people talk. Loneliness is another big factor that goes into it, which is why I tend to just leave on, podcasts, people talking about interesting stuff, because I feel like there's people around, and I'm having to not by myself all the time, so that's cool. But yeah, it's just such a but today specifically, I have 2 things that I really need to work on, this being one of them, but this is a casual thing that I don't take too seriously because not that many people care about it. Shout out to whoever's listening to this right now. Thank you for caring and tuning in. But sorry to let you down from anything that could have been more entertaining. But yeah, I had this to do. But before that, the FERM faves that I do every week for the upcoming artist radio live streams. I pick my 10 favorites, edit the video, put it on Instagram, tag everyone. It's a good time. And then the big one is the recap of 2023, which is that times 50, essentially, because of all the weeks. And there's a whole really cool thing I'm going to do. And all these, this is the weirdest thing. I've so many interesting, cool ideas that I want to do that I've planned out. Not fully planned out, but like they're on the to-do list. All these creative, interesting ideas that I'm passionate about. And then my brain isn't fun. I don't know. I'm clinically depressed, something. And there's things that I won't talk about in personal life that we're not here to diagnose why this is happening, but it is happening. So that's just what I'm talking about. And yeah, it's just a weird thing where it's like I have stuff to do that's my stuff that's nobody's telling me to do, which might actually be lacking discipline is definitely an issue there, but I should want to do these things because they're ultimately enjoyable and bring joy to other people that are involved in them, like the artists, that the songs that I am picking as the favorites and all that. And yeah, I just sit here and I'm like, well, in another hour maybe I'll feel up to it. And then so I was pushed myself to just start going through the songs. I should have already had it done by now and put out, but I've barely even started. And then as I'm doing it, I'm like, oh, that's right, the podcast. And then it all went into my head, and I was like, just going to turn on the camera, fire up the mic, and talk about how depressed I am and how shitty it is to feel this way. And yeah, so it's what it is. And the other thing is, money is another big thing. And it's not that money, I'm not like chasing a millionaire dream or anything, but since I've been having to live with my parents, who are great, by the way, and I'm very lucky to have caring, generous, loving parents to let me stay at their house rent-free while I figure out my life. But yeah, not having the money to get my own place and do the things that, like, the amount of creative potential I could unlock by having a steady paycheck would be so valuable to my happiness and motivation. And the money that I get from the live streams is essentially negligible, pretty much like makes the car payment and a little more. So it's pretty rough. I was going through savings for the first year and a half, and then I just was overly hopeful. I'm like, oh, this will work out, and I'll do a gig work and DoorDash, which I did do for a while, and then I'm like, well, I gotta get in the car and deliver food for people, and I'm gonna make like $50 for a day of getting frustrated and driving. It's just doesn't feel worth it. So then I slip into a pit of, I guess I'll just stay at home feeling like a piece of shit and escaping into whatever world of game or with a video movie I'm watching. So yeah, back to the money thing. I'm actually waiting on a job. I actually got through. I've been applying to jobs. I have a master's degree in physics, and I used it for quite some time in New York. But when I started the internet, when I really got into the internet thing, I was like, all right, I'd much rather I have this sliver of my minor success that millions of people and young people are striving for. I'm lucky to have it. Let me lean into it while I can and keep it steady. But that requires the time and dedication, and I can't, and then making money. So I avoided getting a full-time job as long as I could, because I knew if I got a full-time job, that would fall by the wayside. And I'd either, I don't know, I just have this feeling that I wouldn't be able to balance it out, and then I would just go back to being normal 9 to 5 person, depressed at work, and then having fun on the weekends kind of thing. But it's all kind of, I'm all confused. But anyway, so I've been kind of just, I've been applying for jobs kind of over the past couple months, mostly getting rejected. But there's one job that's a fully remote position that I actually got some headway in, and I'm kind of waiting on a response from after a preliminary interview. So that kind of put me in a limbo of, all right, here's my ultimatum. I'm gonna wait for that. While I wait for that to come through, I'm just gonna try to survive. I'm surviving. I have nothing to. This is first world problems. I'm not talking about literally surviving, but mentally get through the day and do the things that I set up, my own responsibilities that I set for myself in terms of the YouTube channel, which just hit 10K, and I should be more excited and happy, but it's just psychologically complicated. I should be seeing a therapist, but that's a whole other thing. What was I saying? So yeah, so I'm like, if I get this, I'm waiting for the job. Usually, hopefully they didn't just like throw away my application at this point and haven't told me, because typically jobs have been saying, sorry, we moved on, but thank you for your interest, whatever. Not having yet received that. So I'm waiting for that, and assuming that I will eventually get that, or get the job, or get another interview to get the job. So in my head, I'm like, if I get the job, sweet, I'll kind of just do the bare minimum for the YouTube stuff and earn a steady paycheck so I can afford my own apartment again, or a studio space or whatever that can be creative in my free time, and then do the job and all that. And if I don't get the job, then I'm going to put the pedal to the metal on every single idea I have for the podcast, but this is really just a side fun project. But the live streaming, the YouTube uploads, music review, all that kind of stuff, and creative other video ideas I have. So yeah, I feel like I'm in limbo, and yeah, it's just, I woke up and I was like, well, when I wake up, most days I'm a very slow to rise, not a morning person. I drink some coffee, watch some good Mythical Morning. Shout out Rhett and Link. I've been watching them for a long time. They're my morning routine, and then I'll slowly get into a productivity phase. But today has been really just yikes. It was like, and I wasn't even like, usually some kind of anxiety gets me into the depression that leads me into the escapism procrastination thing. But I wasn't even anxious or anything. It's like anhedonia or whatever, which is like the medical term for literally not caring about anything. Not literally anhedonia, but that kind of vibe of, I don't want to get dressed, I don't feel like eating, I don't want to do the things that I'm supposed to do. And another thing is, I haven't it's been maybe over a year since the last time. Actually, I don't remember the last time I let my hair get this long. I stopped cutting my hair. I just stopped taking care of myself as much. I mean, I could be a lot worse. I could be like just in bed, not moving. I could be a lot worse off. I'm thankful that I'm not that depressed, but I got some stuff going on, you know. So shout out to the real super depressed people that are either in some kind of hospital setting or just won't get out of bed and want to off themselves. I'm not there, thankfully. So I'm grateful for that. But yeah, I felt like just for this week's episode, since I don't have a guest slash co-host, I would do another solo one, and it just hit me. I'll just talk about depression and how I'm depressed, and this is what's happening. And I don't even want to I have people are hitting me up about wanting to do things, and I'm avoiding it. This is a weird self therapy session I'm doing with myself right now, to a virtual, not even guaranteed number of people, but it's kind of helping, actually. I don't feel, it's whatever. I plan on just hoping it. I'm trying to think like what. Usually, the live stream. That's the other thing. At the weekend, I fall into a routine of not being productive, just to like relax, and then I kind of get stuck there. And because I'm so alone all the time, don't have any girlfriend, partner, close friend that I'm like in contact with often, in terms of like being around and like, you know. So I'm always in my head, and I just get stuck. And so the live streams, the most fulfilled is when I do the live stream. And I'm like, hell yeah, that was good. I go to bed happy, I wake up, and then I can be productive the next day. But then the more I do nothing, the more I get slower and slower, slumped into it. And this has been cycling on for months now. Maybe pretty much, actually like a year. It really started happening like a year ago, I want to say, where it's been this cycle. But it is pretty much at its worst right now. And at least I was considering pulling out, either just not doing a podcast episode and just saying, sorry, it's not happening, I'm too depressed. Or I do have some like weird, like one or two interviews in the past that were just so like strange and shouldn't be aired, that I was like, maybe I should just put those up because they are kind of entertaining. This one drunk dude who I befriended briefly, I haven't heard from him or seen him in a while, but it was at a fashion show, and he was just wasted talking about stuff, and I was just like, kind of just appeasing him. He's like, let me get on the mic. It was the same, if you're a Real FERM podcast aficionado, which can only be maybe one or two of you, if at all. Maybe episode 4, 5, or 6. Andy from the 6 was the guy. What the guy went by? The guy that got shot. It was in that same event that I interviewed this other guy that I'm talking about. Anyway, that's neither here nor there. It's a little tangent. I just feel like I'm trying to fill out time at this point. Yeah, I don't really have anything else to talk about. And then now the more I'm thinking about it, this is really just sad. This is really just sad. But I'm going to put it out because I want to keep the consistency. And I assume at least one person will watch this and or listen to it and can either relate from the past experience, or maybe you're going through this now and maybe it's worse. Like I said earlier, I'm grateful I'm not in a darker place, because it could be a lot worse, and I have been in darker places. So yeah, it's not as bad as it could be, but it's bad enough to where I feel the need to talk about it on a microphone into a camera to an audience of single-digit listeners. But it's fun times. It's fun times. We're all having a good time. I should get dressed though, so I'm trying to think of anything else I could bring up. If you're, I gotta do these FERM faves for this week. Week 2 of 2020 FERM. It's supposed to be 2020 FERM, and I'm all depressed. So I gotta do that, and then, but I am really excited for when I get into the headspace of finishing. I've made great strides and progress in forming the recap and the conceptualization of what I'm going to do for this video of the 2023 favorite songs of 2023. It's going to be I'm going to have a poll for everyone to vote for their favorites I have like 3 brackets of 3 different, I've divided the genres into 3 different, and I've got 10 songs of each genre, and then at the end I'm going to pick my my 10 out of those favorites, I think, or something around, or 15 maybe, I don't know. 5, who knows? I'm still figuring it out, but most of the work is done in terms of choosing. And then I'm going to have the audience vote on their favorite. I'm going to have them pick which is their favorite, and then hopefully enough people will engage. Given that it's a year's worth of, and all the people that were involved and the artists that are picked, I assume we'll have enough data to at least get a list of actually the most objective you can be about music is like how many people, who's the most liked from a sample of people. So that'll be cool. So yeah, I gotta get back on that, and this has helped me out doing this right now. I feel like I can get back to work on what I'm doing here. So thank you for listening to me complain about my depression, and it has it worked. if it doesn't do anything for the podcast, if this makes me look weak, or I don't really give a shit about that. If this is poorly performing or whatever, as I'm sure it will be, at the very least it helped me, forced me to talk out loud about it, and now I can I feel a little more in the headspace of getting some work done that I should be doing, that I'm not getting paid for, which is a problem, and that's why I'm waiting on this job or putting the pedal to the metal. I'm at a real precipice here. I'm at a crossroads of something's got to happen, or something big is going to change in my lifestyle. So we'll see what happens. Either way, thanks for tuning in. Thanks for listening. Rate and review, like, comment. Hopefully you found this helpful. If you're listening to the end, God bless your soul. This feels like this is a really just sad thing to listen to from my perspective, but God bless you if you enjoyed it. I appreciate you very much. Peace and love. Have a good one. Hopefully next week we can get a guest or something, or I can get back with Rockstar Life. Shout out to him. He got a new job, and that's why the scheduling's been a little challenging. So who knows? It might be me again, and maybe I'll be happy next week. Tune in to find out. Peace and love again, times 2 square.